Hi everyone, welcome to the Cars and Creators channel, where we talk about cars and some of the technology used by YouTube creators. In this week's video, I do a thorough owner's review of my 2021 RAV4 Prime. It's just so smooth and comfortable and so quiet.
Do you hear that funky noise? It sounds terrible. I love the heads-up display.
The only concern I have is that I got traction control turned off. And here we go. Learn more about the best plug-in hybrid vehicle available today in this brand new episode of Cars and Creators. Hi everyone, my name is Darrell, and today I'm going to do a quick review of the RAV4 Prime. I'm not your typical auto reviewer. In fact, I've never done an auto review. I'm simply the owner of a RAV4 Prime, and I want to provide a long-term review from someone that drives the car daily. When we started looking for a vehicle last summer, my wife wanted an SUV that got good gas mileage, was comfortable, was tall with a high driving position, and had enough space to carry us and our golden retrievers for camping adventures. So with those requirements in mind, I started my search. I spent months researching and driving almost everything out there before choosing our Prime. The RAV4 Prime exterior and interior is almost exactly the same as other models of the current generation. I'll discuss these briefly towards the end of the video, but let's start with the most important thing about the Prime that sets it apart from all those other models, the plug-in hybrid drivetrain. The RAV4 Prime has a very innovative plug-in hybrid system that combines a large battery with 3 electric motors and a reliable 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. The gas engine alone makes 177 horsepower and 165 pounds of torque. The 3 electric motors, 1 in the rear and 2 in the front, combine to give you an additional 232 horsepower and 288 pound-feet of torque. Unfortunately, you just can't add the numbers up together. But the combination of these power sources give you 302 horsepower and loads of torque. This is all delivered through an all-wheel drive electronic CVT transmission. This is not your standard belt-driven CVT, but instead, Toyota has used an eCVT with the planetary gear system. I really don't know a whole lot about this eCVT, except that supposedly it's much more reliable than a standard CVT, and it does a great job of delivering both power and torque with outstanding fuel efficiency. There are a number of drive modes in the RAV4 Prime. You can drive in EV mode, which is all electric, hybrid, auto AV, or charge mode. For the most part, when driving around the city, we use EV mode. It's both torquey and smooth off the line and very quiet. It has a range of 40 to 50 miles of all electric, which is plenty for our daily commute. At night, it gets plugged into a standard 120 volt outlet in the garage, and it's ready to go in the morning. That leads me to how comfortable the RAV4 Prime is to drive. The suspension is relatively soft, and it handles the bumps and road imperfections very competently. The combination of comfortable seats and suspension makes this a great daily driver and a super highway cruiser. The wind noise is also much more controlled than the regular RAV4s. Let's talk about performance. When driving in EV mode and using just the electric engines, 0 to 60 comes in about 9 seconds flat. But it feels much faster than that. In the city, the initial torque off the line feels great. For full acceleration and horsepower, you will want to be in hybrid mode with sports mode engaged. Do this and you will get to 60 in a blistering 5.4 seconds. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Because of the instant torque of the electric motors, the 30 to 50 and 50 to 70 acceleration figures compete favorably to most cars that have much higher horsepower. The Prime will sprint from 30 to 50 miles per hour in an amazing 2.7 seconds and 50 to 70 in 3.4 seconds. When driving in Auto V or hybrid mode, the naturally aspirated engine will typically kick in under hard acceleration. You will find the Prime is able to make passing maneuvers on single-lane highways very competently. You just fly by other cars. While the RAV4 was to be mainly a replacement for my wife's Chevy Tahoe as her daily commuting car, the sheer fun of driving it has made it the go-to for pretty much most of the weekend driving. I've had a number of fast cars in the past, including a Nissan GTR, a supercharged Corvette Z06, and a Mustang Cobra. So I have a pretty high standard to meet when it comes to performance. And the RAV4 more than met it. The GTR is lucky if it gets out of the garage on weekends now. But what's unique about the Prime is you get all this performance and still get amazing fuel efficiency. We drove 3,000 miles across the country to bring the Prime home, and we averaged 35 miles per gallon in hybrid-only mode. For a really fast 0 to 60 time, you can turn off traction control and let the wheels slip a little. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay guys, so I'm starting off, turn it on to sport mode, so it'll turn red. And I can actually feel the difference right away. As soon as I hit that, go into sport mode, I can feel the engine, the way it's responding.
I can't feel the difference.
It's quicker. And so I'm in sport mode right now, and I'm going to actually turn the hybrid mode on just so I can warm up the engine, so the engine's warmed up. Yeah, and so what I really appreciate, you hear the engine going off right there. What I just really appreciate is the kind of the torque curve of the car. When you press on the accelerator, on a lot of cars that I've been in, with the Nissan GTR that I have, you know, it's got to spool up that turbo in order for you to kind of really feel it. Having those electric motors in place when you
Here's a good 0 to 60.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a 0 to 60. So I'm going to turn off the traction control button, and so this is actually a perfect time for this. So the traction control button's turned off, hybrid mode is turned on, and sport mode is turned on. And so we're gonna scare the crap of people right next to us, and hopefully there's no cops around. Although we're just gonna go to 60, so
it's a 55.
It's a 55. So, and there's only concern I have is I got traction control turned off, and I haven't done this before. So, but we got a lot of room around us, so everything should be fine. And but as soon as that light hits green, we're going. And here we go. That was pretty fun. So you heard the wheels squeal a little bit, and you heard the engine turn on. But yeah, that was pretty cool. They're way back there, those cars. That thing is quick off the line, and so that's something I really appreciate about the car. And it's not just the 0 to 60. So right now we're at we're sitting at about 45 miles an hour, and just the way this thing can accelerate is so quick, and I really appreciate that.
And you just saw my head go back into the headrest as he did that.
And it's really interesting.
No
I talked about the 30 to 50 times and the 50 to 70 times in this car, and what's really interesting about this car on the freeway, and we're going to take it on the freeway, is it's one of those things where, because this has an electric drivetrain plus the gasoline engine, the electric drivetrain gives you that initial kind of push, and then the gasoline engine kicks in and it almost goes into overdrive, and it feels, for me, it feels very much like a turbo car, where you feel that little boost as the turbos are kicking in or as the gasoline engine kicks in. And but what's great about it is because you get that boost right away, because you get those electric motors, it gives you that boost, and then the engine just kicks in, and then it just adds to it. So it's really a nice car. I mean, it certainly, it doesn't handle like a sports car because it's pretty heavy. It's got the weight of the batteries in it. Luckily, the weight is pretty low, so it's underneath the car, and so it actually gives it, I think, a lower center of gravity for sure. And so that helps. I think it adds about 500 or 600 pounds to the car. and that's pretty significant. But you don't really, for me, I don't really feel the weight all that much. It's just because of the electric motors. You just don't feel the weight in this car. We're merging onto the freeway, and you know, it doesn't handle great, but it certainly handles good enough.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole. I'm Darrell's wife. Darrell wanted me to go ahead and take the opportunity to tell you what I kind of like about the RAV4 Prime. There's a number of things. So the first thing I really like about it is nice and tall. I didn't like the SUV. I mean, I wanted an SUV because we obviously have the dogs, so I need to transport them. A lot of SUVs, you feel like you're sitting in a car. In my Chevy Tahoe, I felt like I was sitting in a truck. Here, you can have either. So Darrell, one of the nice things about this thing is that the driver's side seat is really adjustable. There's buttons on the side of the door. You can have 2 presets, which is great, and that was one of the features we really wanted, so that because we have very different driving styles, I like to be up high, Darrell likes to be down low, and this way we don't have to sit there and mess with the seat each time. Can show you kind of the difference in the height. So that was my seat adjustment now. So now I'm going down to Darrell's, and you can see how low I have now become. It's very much like sitting in a car. The dash is really high. I can't see the front end. Not at all truck-like. But when I go back to my seating adjustment, you can see that I'm going to come way up high. Feels very much like a truck. I can see the entire hood. I see over the dash. It's really nice. It feels like I wanted it to feel. Do you hear that funky noise? That is the backup warning. It sounds terrible. It sounds even worse when you're outside. We don't really use the maps that came with the Toyota. We use our iPhones with the CarPlay, so I can't really talk. The couple of times we tried using the maps, they were not all that intuitive.
The navigation? Yeah,
the navigation. It didn't search really well and find what we wanted, and we kind of gave up on it. We probably should go back and see if we can, you know, maybe it was operator error on our part. Who knows? You can tell it's a really smooth ride. Because of how high I'm sitting and the way I have my seat adjusted, it does feel like I'm driving a truck, which is one of the things I really wanted. I didn't want to be in the car. My knees are pretty much at a 90-degree angle with my feet flat on the floor as opposed to like sticking out in front of me. And it feels really safe to me. Mainly because I'm so high, because I don't feel very safe when I have it in Darrell's seating position.
Something that I really like, and you probably like this as well, Nicole, is just the fact that it's so quiet. When you're in EV mode, I mean, there's no engine at all. It's just running totally on electricity, and so you don't have the gas engine running. And they did some things with the windshield. I think they did some acoustic kind of treatment on that area, and I think they did some acoustic treatment also in the engine bay, and it just made the whole driving experience compared to a regular RAV4, it just made it much more quieter. And so you can tell from the cabin, it's just a very comfortable, very quiet driving car.
One of the other things I really, really, really like, and I didn't even realize that I was going to like this so much, and it wouldn't have been something that I would have put on the list as a must-have, but the heads-up display. I love the heads-up display. It not only tells me how fast I'm going right there on my windshield, it also gives me the speed limit so that I can actually see if I'm speeding or not. One of the things I really wanted is a sunroof. Darrell has a Honda Accord with a sunroof. I really love the sunroof. Right now, he's got the
panoramic moonroof.
Panoramic moonroof open. Can you go ahead and open up the actual glass too?
So we're going about 45 miles an hour right now. So pretty much anything over probably 35. The open moonroof is probably a little bit too noisy. But certainly, you know, cruising around at 35 or so is really nice.
So driving around in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas sun, it totally open is not great, but you can have it open with the glass and you get in some nice sunshine. There's a nice tint up there, so that's really nice.
What do you think about the EV and not having to use any gas?
So that's the best thing about it, is the gas mileage on the thing. I worked downtown and I had probably about a 20-mile commute each way, and I could go to work and come back home with just the charge from just one charge. So I used no gas during the week, which with the gas prices the way they are now is great. I can't imagine what I would have been paying if I were still driving my Tahoe.
So one of the things that's really nice about the Toyota Safety Sense is the pedestrian cross-traffic alerting, as well as the vehicle cross-traffic alerting. And so whenever you're kind of backing out of a spot, and if there's a pedestrian or a car that's kind of going into your path, it warns you about it. And that's just amazing, because it gives you a lot more confidence when you're backing up, you know, it saves you from getting an accident. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Darrell. That's another one of the features that I really love. I worked in a garage that was really old and really, yeah, that's where I'm going. That was really old and had really small spots and bad visibility. It wasn't a good garage. And it was great because it would. And
here we go. So it was telling us that she was a little close to that car, and she wasn't that close, but still, you know, it's sensitive. So it's
very sensitive.
It's making sure that you know they're getting kind of close to something, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, I feel super safe pulling out of a spot.
Yeah, and before I was always looking around and checking, and I would be okay, and then I would pull out, and then all of a sudden somebody would come, and I'm like, ah! Whereas this thing, it always knows, and so it's super cool.
Okay.
Okay. In the title of this video, I mentioned that the RAV4 Prime is a great small SUV for camping. Here's why. First off, it has amazing fuel efficiency. When camping, you're probably going to be doing lots of driving, and you'll also probably be carrying a lot of gear. With gas prices being what they are, you really want a vehicle with great fuel efficiency, and the RAV4 Prime will deliver 36 miles per gallon in the highway and 40 in the city. The Prime could also carry a lot of stuff. Here's what my RAV4 Prime looks like when it's fully loaded when we're camping. I have a roof rack for oversized items, a hitch basket, and then we put pillows and blankets, dog beds, and food in the cargo area, along with our golden canine campers. The stars of my YouTube channel, Jake and Sandy. We are definitely not minimalist when we go camping, as we like to enjoy the comforts of home. One of my favorite features of the XSE Premium Trim is the 1500 watt inverter in the cargo area. When we go camping, we always have access to electricity. We bring along a small microwave, coffee maker, portable ceramic heater, and mini projector, and all of our various electronics. With the Prime's large battery and inverter, we can last 3 days powering our gear and using the heater for 4 to 5 hours a night. If you ever get short on battery, you can simply take the Prime for a small drive around the area and use the charge mode to quickly charge up the battery. When we travel to our camping destinations, our Goldens rest in the cargo area with the second row seats folded down. Sandy never wants to lay down, and it's impossible to see out of the rearview mirror. So one feature I really love in the XSE Premium is the digital rearview mirror. The resolution is amazing, and it makes our trips much safer. My wife is not a fan of the digital mirror, so she flips it back to a traditional rearview mirror. In the near future, we will be purchasing a small trailer to replace our tent for camping. The Prime has a towing capacity of 2,500 pounds. I do wish the capacity was a little larger, but it will easily pull a smallish pop-up or the A-liner camper we plan to get. We did have the tow hitch and harness package installed in our Prime in anticipation of this. Turned out it was a really good decision because it has allowed us to use the basket until we get our A-liner. For these reasons, I think the Prime is the perfect little companion for camping adventures. I have to say, I really appreciate the RAV4 Prime's looks. I think the newer body style is very attractive. It's much more truck-like in appearance than previous generation RAV4s. It's very rugged looking and has nice ground clearance, and is one of the taller, compact SUVs out there. The height was important to my wife, as she was used to her Tahoe. We named our RAV4 Prime Brutus because he's tough. Yes, we're a little dorky, as you might already know if you watch some of our other videos. The front end of the Prime has a blue Toyota logo that signifies that this is the plug-in hybrid. It also has black painted fenders and a silver lower crossbar. The premium package I have also has the LED vertical light strips on the front, as well as swiveling LED adaptive headlights. Looking at the side profile of the Prime, you will notice our roof rack. We added a couple of accessories to our Prime because of our camping adventures. We added the OEM hitch and crossbars, roof rack, and a hitch basket. I think the rack and basket are perfect for our RAV4 Prime, and if you're interested in knowing what we purchased, I'll have the product's name and link in this video's description. I'm not an Amazon affiliate or sponsored in any way. The Prime XSE Premium has a black roof, which I think complements the magnetic gray paint on mine very well. You will also find black painted side view mirrors, fenders, and lower trim, which I think makes the Prime look very distinctive. My wife was not a fan of the black roof and the resulting two-tone paint look, so we compromised on the body color being metallic gray, which minimizes the contrast. The XSE trim comes with 19-inch wheels, which surprisingly don't affect the ride quality. The XSE also comes with a suspension that's about 1 inch higher than the SE. You also get the plug-in hybrid badging. In the rear, you will find dual exhaust tips, surprising for a plug-in hybrid, but fully justifiable given the performance this vehicle puts out. You'll get black paint on the bumpers and Prime badging. Let's talk about the interior for a couple of minutes. The Prime has a very comfortable cabin. The seats in the Prime, they're some of the most comfortable I've ever been in. They are supportive enough, but really feel like you're sitting in one of your living room's favorite chairs. The XSE Premium comes with 8-way adjustable driver seats and 4-way passenger seating, with a Softex leather and 2-position memory. Most of the Primes come with heated seats. The Premium trim comes with ventilated seats, which I appreciate in the Las Vegas heat. The seats do get hot when exposed to the sun, so be careful when getting in after leaving it parked in the sun. Nicole was fondly remembering her Tahoe's cloth seats after last week's camping adventure. You get a large 9-inch touchscreen with navigation, but we primarily use the Maps app in Apple CarPlay for navigation. The Toyota navigation was confusing and doesn't work very well. At least we don't think so. With the Premium package, you get an 11-speaker JBL audio system, which sounds pretty good to me, but I'm not an audiophile. And you also get a top-down 360-degree Eagle View screen to assist with parking. The camera on the system is not very sharp, but I still use it occasionally when it's a tight parking spot. There is a wireless charging pad that I haven't been able to use yet. It's not the RAV4's fault, but rather due to the fact that I have an older iPhone. There is also a pretty spacious center console with cup holders. You get USB ports by the wireless charging system and USB ports in the center console. There are additional cup holder areas in the front doors. The center console is nicely padded for good elbow support when driving, and the armrest on the door is also in a good position for driving. One of my pet peeves is being able to comfortably rest my elbows when driving, and the RAV4 does a good job with this. The steering wheel feels solid, and it has the typical audio and cruise control buttons on it. Speaking of cruise control, all Primes have the radar sensing adaptive cruise control, which works very well. It also has lane centering, which will allow the car to steer itself as long as you have one hand lightly on the wheel. I didn't find this to work as well as I would like to. Nicole didn't really like the adaptive cruise control or the lane centering. It's easy to adjust the sensitivity of both, however, and you can turn off lane centering. All Primes come with Toyota's Safety Sense 2.0 with blind spot monitoring, as well as vehicle and pedestrian cross-traffic control. I have found these to work very well. There is also an emergency auto brake function that's part of this, where the brake engages automatically when the front sensors determine there's an object in front of you. We haven't had a close call while driving yet, so we can't comment on how this feature works in an emergency, but we can tell you it works really well in the garage. The RAV4 really doesn't want us to get too close to the trash cans at the end of the garage. There's also a lot of beeping as part of the Safety Sense package. Again, this feature mainly comes to use in the garage. Word of caution, don't pull into a tight garage while on a hands-free phone call. The person on the other end will think you've just had a major accident with all the beeping from the sensors. My premium XSE model comes with a panoramic moonroof. This isn't as large as other comparable vehicles, but still lets in lots of light. We don't currently use the app that comes with the RAV4 due to having older iPhones, but it does alert you if you have left the car unlocked or if any windows are open. It will also remotely lock the car. The app has some other features as well, such as remote start to warm or cool the cabin before you get to the car. We're really looking forward to playing with the app when we get our new iPhones. We never use the second row passenger seating as our main passengers are our golden retrievers. We always have the seats folded to give them access to the entire cargo area. There is plenty of leg and headroom in the RAV4, but if headroom for drivers or passengers is a concern, I'd recommend getting the base model without the moonroof package or the premium model with the panoramic moonroof. The base model with moonroof does have quite a bit less headroom available to the driver and passenger. Also, the passenger seat doesn't have height adjustable seats, so be aware of that if headroom is a concern. While the cargo area does have a lot of space, the second row doesn't fold down totally flat and has a little bit of an upward slope to it. I do wish they folded completely flat, and I'm sure my dogs would like this as well. Our Prime came with Toyota's all-weather floor mats. They're okay, certainly better than the regular carpeted mats if you have dogs. They are a little thin though, and I might replace the OEM ones. You will have noticed that we have a pet barrier separating the cargo area from the front seats. One of our golden retrievers was always trying to climb in the front seats and constantly put her paws on the center console. We tried a couple of barriers, but this one was by far the best for our situation. Again, if you're interested, I'll have a link to the product in the video's description. There are a number of goodies that you get with the XSE Premium package, and I want to quickly discuss the ones that have been most important to me. My situation will likely be very different from you, but if you like to camp or travel, and if you have dogs, these things might be important to you as well. I have already talked about the inverter and digital rearview mirror. These are game changers for us. The other feature important to us is the panoramic moonroof, but probably not for the reasons you think. It simply gives us and the dogs much more headroom. We were considering the SE with weather and moonroof package, but we lost about 6 inches of headroom because of how the moonroof slides into the roof. When I measured the SE with moonroof, I had only 26.5 inches of space between the cargo floor and the headliner in the second row. With the XSE Premium and the panoramic moonroof liner opened, there is 33 inches of space, giving you more than 6 inches of additional headroom for your passengers and your dogs. We also really like the 2-position memory seating and the ventilated seats when driving in the Las Vegas heat during summers. For those of you still here, I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoy my RAV4 Prime. As you probably already know, the federal tax credit for the RAV4 Prime, as well as most electric vehicles and plug-in vehicles, is no longer available. However, this should make the RAV4 Prime much easier to find, and I've created a video especially to help you find your RAV4 Prime at MSRP or even under. So click on this video to find out more. This channel will focus on maintaining and modifying the cars that I own, which include a 2012 Nissan GT-R, a RAV4 Prime, and a 1994 Mustang GT. I will also focus this channel on some of the technology tools used in creating social media content. This video was posted originally to another channel in April of 2022. but I created this new channel and I'm posting this video there. If you got value from this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you again very soon.